Hey everybody, it is Nathan, Blake, and Sylvia, and we are officially back in Iowa, which means that we are done with team training. It was a really good week. It was a short week, but it was very eventful. We got a lot of things done. We got to go to a lot of places, and we officially passed our public access test, but we'll get to that later. So this week consisted of 3 interesting, eventful days. The first day was going to the airport.
So here we are in the Harrisburg International Airport. I believe that's what it's called. And yes, it is what it's called. And we are about to go through the security with this dog for the first time. So I'm assuming there won't be a strip search, but we will see. We will see what happens. It's always quite interesting when we go through these security checkpoints. So let's be very secure.
It's very important to make sure that we know how to navigate an airport, and it's very important that we're prepared to answer questions for the TSA and make sure that the TSA know that they are, under no circumstances, supposed to separate us from our dogs. So I usually have to explain this when I go into airports, and I usually need to explain the procedure, and usually the TSA is good about it, but sometimes you have to stand your ground a little bit with it. So it was really nice to have that practice. It was really nice to practice going through the security line, and I think it was really good for the TSA agents as well to see service dogs going through the line, so that the next time a service dog comes in, they would be more prepared. So we walked around the airport a bit, and then we left. And I think that was a very efficient use of our time and very effective practice. On day 2, we went to the zoo, which was a bit of a mixed bag. On one hand, it's really nice to see the animals, it's really cool to see them, but on the other hand, zoos can be very stressful for both dogs and autistics, because there's a lot of noises, there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of things that we're just not that used to. It can also be very difficult for the dog because the dog is being around animals that are both predators and prey, and sometimes that can be a little bit overwhelming for the dog. There are also some exhibits that the dogs just cannot go near, like the wolf exhibit, for obvious reasons. They might see a cousin of theirs. Overall, it was stressful for both of us, but it was also very good for both of us. At times when I was having sensory difficulty, Blake would do her job and help me out through it, because I was giving her attention, which in turn also calmed her down, because she had a job to do. And overall, the day ended with success. And then on day 3, it was the moment we've all been waiting for, the public access test. The day in which we determine whether or not the dog will be able to go out in public and be able to competently maneuver through public and be able to stay calm and collected in public. So far, she's been pretty good in public, but it was time to put that to the test. The public access test took place at a mall, which is a really good place for a public access test because there's a lot of challenges at a mall. A mall features a lot of things that people would normally be taking their dog out to, such as stores or walkways with a lot of people or food courts, which means that it gives the dog a lot of practice in a stressful situation, and also it gives them practice in a situation in which I would probably be stressed, because I do go to the malls, but they can sometimes be difficult for me. So in the public access test, the dog has to go through a lot of the things that they have been learning throughout the course of their time and their training. And the public access test is as much a test for the dog as it is for the partner. For example, a very important part of the test is the fact that they have to determine if there is a positive relationship between the dog and the person, meaning, is the person treating the dog well? Is the person handling them competently? And is the person making sure to give the dog praise when the dog does what they wanted them to do? We also had to demonstrate that the dog actually does specific actions in order to accommodate a disability. Now, legally, a dog only needs to perform one action in order to be considered a service dog, but the agency that I got Blake from, Susquehanna Service Dogs, requires 3 actions. It's also important that she not eat random things off the floor, so we had to practice what's called Leave It, where she has to just leave food on the floor if it falls. And of course, we had to practice the elevator, which, as I had said in previous videos, the elevator can be very dangerous, so it's important to make sure that the dog and the person knows what they're doing when they're going into an elevator with a service dog. In the end, we passed the public access test with flying colors, and we were given the certification badge from the agency. Now, legally, they don't actually need those in order to go out in public. However, a lot of service dog agencies requires them in order to demonstrate that the dog went through some kind of training program. And so ends the journey of going through team training and getting a successor dog. It's been a very emotional 2.5 weeks and the several months leading up to that, and it has been difficult, but I think it's also worth it. I could not be more happy with Blake. I think she's going to be a really good service dog. So far, she's already helped me a lot. I'm really looking forward to starting school with her. It's really nice to see how Sylvia has been adapting to life as a pet. I've been very pleasantly surprised with that, and I've been pleasantly surprised with Blake's ability to adapt to her new home and her new partner. And overall, I'm really glad I went through this. And it was difficult. It started with mixed emotions, and it has ended with what I think is one of the best decisions I've ever made. And I really appreciate all of you for following this journey. It has been a heck of a ride, and I will continue to make content and updating you about stories that happen between me and Blake, and even some old stories with me and Sylvia. And be sure to keep watching out for videos on the channel. So that's today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, give it a like, a share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Check out some of my other stuff, and we will see you next week.